tuning in to Bump Psychology. It's a wrestling section on my YouTube channel where I talk about wrestling. And this is a little different from my normal setup. Normally I would be on here with some friends doing reactions for different wrestling pay-per-views, which you can check out in the annotations. But today I'm going to be doing a countdown list from 10 to 1 on certain WWE wrestlers that I would love to see in AEW. Now, I have a few rules. The people on this list are not going to be any of the people you've heard as highly rumored for going to AEW. Well, maybe except for one of them. So there will be no CM Punk, no Sasha Banks, no Revival, and no Gallows and Anderson. They're not on this list. Everyone's talked about them to death, and those people most likely are going to end up there. This is more of a fantasy booking of people I think I would love to see at AEW who are currently on the roster right now. So, with that out of the way, I'm just going to hop right into it. Starting off with number 10, Damien Sandow. That's right. If you know anything about me, I'm a big Damien Sandow fan, and I'm going to get my boy on this list. Now, this is a little bit different because I don't necessarily want Damien Sandow as a wrestler. I think if you watch the Double or Nothing pay-per-view, one of the things they definitely can improve on is their commentary team. JR is very good. I think they should save him for like pay-per-views. I don't think he should necessarily be on the show on a weekly basis. Excalibur is pretty good. He needs better, but the Alex guy, not so much. And what I would do, granted, I think a two-man commentary team is best, but I would have Damien Sandow as like their Jerry the King Lawler, where he's a guy who can talk, he can be witty, he can be funny, and he can be a heel commentator, but when they need him to do a story angle and he has to actually wrestle, he can actually wrestle. So I think that would be a great thing for Damien Sandow, because I don't think he necessarily wants to wrestle, but he has been doing like his own little videos and talk show stuff, and I think he would be great for that. And I would also prefer to have Matt Striker as like the play-by-play guy for AEW, but that's a whole other subject. But I think Damien Sandow would fit well in this role. And also, I kind of forgot about it before I started putting this together. When him and Cody Rhodes were a tag team, they were the Rhodes Scholars, and they were fucking great. So I could totally see this one happening, but pure fantasy. Now, on to number 9. Zack Ryder. He is my number 9 pick to be on AEW. Now, Zack Ryder is awesome. He is currently one half of the Raw Tag Team champions with Kurt Hawkins. But you wouldn't know that because they haven't been on the show for like at least damn near a month, and no one really cares because they don't do anything with them. And he's a very talented guy who's been like stifled for years, and he's very talented. He was one of the pioneers of wrestlers getting themselves over through the internet, and he's charismatic. He's got a good character. He's solid in the ring. He's a very creative guy, but WWE doesn't seem like they want to use him other than just put him on a tag team and try to do something, like they did with Mojo Rawley. But him and Cody are good friends, and Cody even mentioned how back before AEW, when he first left the Indies, he told him like, you would be great on the Indies. You got a presence, you got a character, but he just is loyal to WWE. But I think he could really be a good enhancement for the AEW roster. Another, not necessarily a huge name, but a known name, and a guy with experience who can help the younger guys get themselves over. So I think he would definitely help as a talent on the AEW roster. Now, for number 8, Matt Hardy. Yes, Matt Hardy. Now, if you look at this photo right here, this is a photo of Broken Matt Hardy and Big Money Matt, two unique characters that Matt Hardy has created, and they're both hilarious. And let's look at him. He's having the time of his life, as opposed to what he's doing now on the Raw roster. Oh no, I think he's on SmackDown, where he's just in the background doing jack shit. And that's a shame, because Matt Hardy is a highly charismatic, highly creative guy that they could have doing a number of things, but they don't because they don't care about Matt Hardy. They love Jeff. Problem is, Jeff is, he can get clear for wrestling, but then in another 2 weeks he's going to be injured again. So Matt is just stuck on the sideline. He could be doing so. He could be in a program with somebody, but no, he's just chilling in the back. And I think him on AEW with his talent, like what he did with TNA when he was allowed to be fully creative. You know how big that broken gimmick got? Imagine if he did something like that for AEW, or help produce something like that for AEW, because he could also, not just as a wrestler, he can also work as a talent behind the scenes and helping them with videos and characters and packages. I think he would be a huge talent for AEW, and I think once his contract is done, I think he might jump ship over to AEW to help at least be in a producer role, maybe wrestle occasionally. But I think he would be a huge talent that would greatly improve their product. Now, my number 7 pick is, oh yeah, this guy's been on the tips of everybody's tongues for the past couple of days. Sami Zayn. Yes, the ginger Canadian destroyer himself is my number 7 pick. He's a little low on the list because I'm not the hugest Sami Zayn fan, but I know a lot of people love him, and he's a damn good wrestler. The man can go. Currently, he's just, yammering, basically being Vince McMahon's puppet, and he's getting good he's getting matches though. He just loses all the damn time, and that can get old after a while, especially with the whole weird electric chair thing that was pretty bland and lame. Sammy is very charismatic. He's friends with the Young Bucks as well, and I think he's another guy that's just another good, solid wrestler that they could actually do more with than just him yammering around or just hanging around Kevin Owens. I think they would definitely give him more to do than just what he's doing right now on the roster, on the main roster. Now, my number 6 pick. This is the big one. The Scottish psychopath, Drew McIntyre. Yes, Drew McIntyre is a beast. He is so awesome. And now he's just a henchman for whoever it is. It's like every other month he's just, a henchman, and it's a damn shame. Or he's just in the main event in another tag match fighting Roman, and it's just, this guy should be like top heel, and he's like, I guess like 4th string heel, maybe 3rd string heel, behind Shane and hell, I guess he's kind of technically behind Elias. Well, no, it's Shane, Corbin, then I guess Elias, then McIntyre. Like, they're in that range, but it's a damn shame. He should be much bigger than what he is. He's a great heel, and he's a very good babyface too. And I think they could do something great with McIntyre. He would definitely stand out more so in AEW just because of his size, because there's not a lot of big guys at the AEW. And he would work as a heel and a face, especially him versus like Hangman Page or him versus Jungle Boy or something like that. He would be great. He's got intensity. He's good on the mic. He can be a great heel, and he can be very charming when he's a face. Look at him when he was champion in NXT. He was a total badass, and much better, like I said, than him just being wasted as Shane McMahon's bodyguard. Now, here's a good one. My number 5 pick is Ruby Riott. Where the hell has she been since, the Monday before WrestleMania? You ain't seen her ass nowhere on the show. Her team got demolished just to get over Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda, which was not necessary. She got beat in like under a minute, about like a little over a minute at Fastlane. Was it Fastlane? I think it was Fastlane. It was either Fastlane or maybe it was Elimination Chamber. It was some bullshit where she had like a barely a minute match with Ronda Rousey, and it was a complete afterthought. Ruby Riott is a damn good wrestler. I was not a fan of the Riott Squad because I thought that gimmick was lame, but she's a damn good talent, and they're not doing anything with this woman. So just let her go. She's got a unique look. She's got a unique style. I think she would fit in perfectly on AEW, especially as a counterbalance to, say, someone like Kylie Ray or Britt Baker. They got nothing for her. Like I said, she hasn't been on TV since that Monday before WrestleMania. If you're not going to use her, let someone else have her. Let her actually wrestle. Ruby Riott would be a great talent, a great superstar, and something they can actually do something with, because they've done jack shit with her. They can actually make a star with her on AEW. My number 4 pick, Luke Harper. Oh yeah, the big man Luke Harper. If you've heard the story, I don't know if you have, but basically one of the reasons he's not being utilized right now is because apparently he doesn't know how to do a southern accent. Let me say that again. He doesn't know how to do a southern accent. That's why Vince McMahon has nothing for him. And if you listen to the Dean Ambrose or the John Moxley interview on Talks Jericho, which came out this Wednesday, that thing is amazing. And he really illustrated how when Vince sees you as a certain character, that's all he sees you as. He doesn't see you anything outside of that. You know, John Moxley, Dean Ambrose was the wacky guy. It's so you. It's so you. And I guess he sees Luke Harper as a big redneck, even though he's not from the South. But if he can't do a southern accent, then what's the point? You're big. You got a cool look. You can talk. You can actually wrestle. Like you can move. You don't have bad knees like Braun Strowman. But you can't do a southern accent. So I don't get it. So if he's useless, let the man go. The man, he had a tweet where he gave a big speech about how he was like, look, I love wrestling. And then probably 2 weeks later, he was like, hey, can I get the hell out of here? And they were like, no. Just let the man go. He's got a cool look. I love the Bludgeon Brothers was cool. My only problem with the Bludgeon Brothers was those damn hammers. Those stupid ass hammers made no sense. But him and that team was really cool, but they was just beating the hell out of people and that stiff movements and all that. He's a damn good wrestler. Once again, his size would be a plus for him being on the AEW roster. Especially, look at Luchasaurus. If you saw the Double or Nothing Battle Royal, Luchasaurus stood out not just because he looks like a dinosaur, but also because of his height and the way he moved. Luke Harper could do the same thing. He could be a heel or a face, preferably a face, maybe. I don't know. Let him use some of that Bruiser Brody vibe that he wants to go with, and let him just be a rough and tough guy. He would definitely get over. He'd be great. I would love to see that. Now, for number 3, my number 3 choice for WWE Superstars that I would love to see in AEW. Let me start this off by saying this. AEW is definitely going out of its way to be a very diverse group of wrestlers, not just in terms of wrestling styles, but in terms of how the wrestlers look and their sexual orientations and their backgrounds. And they've hired a lot of people from different parts of the world. One thing I've noticed is they don't necessarily have a big singles black wrestler. They have black wrestlers. One is a tag team and one is with the Sunny Kiss, and they have Brandy as well. But Sunny Kiss I don't necessarily see as a big singles wrestler. And the reason this popped up to me, because if you don't know, I'm black, and I was just thinking of this. That's a market that they could be missing out on. Look at how the whole big thing with Kofi Kingston. But that's the other thing. There's not that many big black single wrestlers out there right now, because most of them are signed to different companies. But there is one that I fear for when he gets to the main roster. And my pick, okay, before I get to that, the reason this also matters is because when you look at WCW, back in the day, WCW, they had, in the earlier days of WCW, they had someone like Ron Simmons, who was like one of the first recognized black heavyweight champions. And then you also had Booker T, who was a 5-time WCW champion. And that he was just a good black single star. Now, that being said, there's one wrestler who works at WWE who's an up-and-coming, who I fear for on the main roster, as long as Vince is in control. So, my number 3 pick is Patrick Clark, aka the Velveteen Dream. Now, like I said, if you listen to Jon Moxley talk about how Vince is, when he sees you as a character, he cannot break you out of that mode. I don't know what the hell Vince is going to think of the Velveteen Dream. He's not going to get it. I don't know, and I fear for Patrick Clark. He's a young guy. He's only 23, so he's got time to grow. I'm not saying he needs to go to AEW immediately, because him at NXT is definitely helping him on his character work, on his wrestling. His matches is great. He's a damn good, charismatic, talented guy. That being said, if Vince sees him as whatever he thinks Velveteen Dream is, what do you think he's going to do with him? He's gonna, like a friend of mine said, he's going to have Velveteen Dream win women's Money in the Bank. It's going to be some goofy shit like that. He would just basically be the new R-Truth. He would just be R-Truth but younger. I fear that's what he, no diss to R-Truth. R-Truth is great at what he does, but someone like Patrick Clark could really be a top guy. I know Triple H sees him that way. I fear that Vince isn't going to see him that way. And Patrick is wasted, get frustrated. I'd much rather see him down the line at AEW where he could really come into his own. So that is my number 3 pick. Now, my number 2 pick is Rusev with Lana. Now, Rusev, man, this guy, and this is another guy who was over as hell, like months ago, by like mid 2018. He was over as hell. The Rusev Day, him and Aiden English, that shit was wildfire. That was the big thing before Becky Lynch really picked up like after SummerSlam. Rusev Day was fire. And what did WWE do? They did jack shit. They sold some shirts and then they broke them up in the worst breakup angle in a long time. And it was just baffling. This guy he's got size. He's charismatic. He's gotten better on the mic. He's gotten in great shape. Like, if you look what he looked like when he was U.S. champion the first time to what he looks like now, he's gotten in great shape. He's charismatic. People can get behind him. People can hate him. He has it. Yet WWE doesn't seem to care. And I would love to see him at AEW and let him really get his shine, because it seems like there was always like they would go with him and then they would stop, and then they would go with him, then they would stop, and then he got his own shit over and then they killed that. So yeah, you don't need to deal with all that. He would be a great talent, a great asset for AEW. Let the man go, because come on now, this is ridiculous. And my number 1 pick for WWE Superstars, who I would love to see in AEW, is Kevin Owens, aka Kevin Steen. Yeah, I mean, Kevin Owens is great. He just came back like a little bit before WrestleMania, and it was cool to see him. And then they had him do all that goofy stuff with the New Day, which was like, yeah. But then he turned heel, and it was cool. But I feel like I was listening to Steve and Larson, if you're familiar with them. They talk about wrestling, and they were talking about it during Double or Nothing. And I believe it was Steve that brought up the point. Like, he feels like Kevin Owens has kind of reached the peak of what he's going to do in WWE, which was him having the Universal title, him with the, him and Chris Jericho. And right now, he's just kind of sort of upper mid-card guy. And if you know Kevin Steen from Ring of Honor, and if you remember Kevin Owens when he first started out in NXT, and like when he first was on the main roster, he was a very intense, in-your-face sort of character, tough guy. And now he's become more of a goofball, and they've rounded his edges, no pun intended. He doesn't seem quite as hard-edged as he used to. And I think he would definitely benefit from the creative freedom to really unleash on people. If you looked at Double or Nothing, look how Jericho was talking to the crowd when he was getting his heel stuff in. Kevin Owens does the same thing, but on a much smaller scale on WWE. Look at how Moxley came in there and he looked like a star. If they would just let these talented people do these cool things, they could really get over. But these shackles are kind of holding them back, and I feel like Kevin Owens could be much bigger star on AEW than what they're kind of shackled him to in WWE. So Kevin Steen would be my number one choice because he can do so much better. And yeah, I would just love to see it. I think he would be great. Some of his matchups, I would love to see him and Jericho getting to something, him and Moxley getting to something, him and Paige, maybe him and Rose getting along, and then they maybe do a rehash-ish type thing with him and Jericho. I don't know. But Kevin Owens would definitely be a great asset to them. And yeah, that's my list. Do you think I'm just a big mark who's just in love with AEW? I'm just trying to. This is just this is all fantasy. There's no truth to will these people ever show up. I just think these people would definitely help enhance the roster that they're still cultivating. And yeah, so if you like my ideas, let me know in the comments. If you have your own ideas, your own list of wrestlers you would love to see in AEW, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Check out other videos on this channel, and stay tuned for more videos. Peace.